Okay, we are live. It's been a while. Uh, we're starting early, so this is your host with the most, Condor Jez. And with me is the Midnight Man.
What up?
How's your weekend going?
That's pretty chill.
Yeah, mine's pretty chill too. It's like I don't know, I've been just trying to get acclimated to my new area.
Excellent.
Yeah. What have you? So I guess August is upon us. The summer for you is slowly waning away. How does that
Uh,
make you feel?
I think it's going to be a long Indian summer.
All right. Oh, now I kind of heard you like stuttering.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, as I said, I moved and there's like and yeah, when's that? So I moved. I'm finally my at least my uh at least my uh my food situation improved. I'm starting to
Excellent.
add
Must be good
more
to
fruits
finally
and
have access to a kitchen.
yes. What did I make the last time? I made um what did I make? Oh yeah, I made like cheesy ham roll ups, like a tortilla. Well, it's made out of turkey.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then I also got some burgers, like the frozen pre-made burgers, not made out of assorted mystery meats, but actual beef. So I might make some burgers someday. Yeah, uh, so it's just gonna be the two of us because there's a fat, disgusting pig who's just laying around on the beach being like a beached whale. And then
Fucking
our
guy's on vacation every other month. He's got to be going on vacation every other month.
I know he's like what does he do all day? Sometimes I wonder, but yeah, he's being lazy and fat and roasting in the sun, so everything within like a 5 mile radius smells like pork grease and
Chicharron.
gravy. Pork grease and burned gravy. Also, I don't know. Your mic is still being weird.
All right. Well, it's probably going to do that.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know what's up with your mic. But then, and Maggie, he might
Oh
be
well.
joining us later because right now at he's at a he's with his a family event. He's at a family event, so he might be joining us later, hopefully with some tacos and of course beans. Okay, let's see. So let's uh let's just begin.
All right.
So let's just pop the link for Mega when he comes back. So to start off, we got a couple uh passings to note. This might be more relevant to you, Mr. New York man, but Tony Bennett has died at age 96. And oh, look at that. Some breaking news. I'll just chuck that in another tab. But Tony Bennett, legendary New York crooner, has died. So he died last Friday. So we got a lot of stuff to go through. And he's known for singing with like Elton John, Carole King, no, Elton John, Carole King, and Hillary Clinton. Were among those paying tribute to him. So he's been known for having like a lot of different uh, duets. His most recent being with Lady Gaga, and then he also was with like Aretha Franklin and Frank Sinatra. So he died of uh, natural causes. So he also had Alzheimer's disease. So Hillary Clinton described Bennett as a true talent, a true gentleman, and a true friend. She tweeted, "We'll miss you, Tony, and thanks for all the memories." Hmm.
Oh, that sort of endorsement makes me suspicious.
I know. Hold on. Hmm. I don't know. Are you still coming in? Cause I don't know. I can't. I hear some weird stuff on the sound. I don't know if it's me or you.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's like a popping, like a kind of like a popping staticky noise. Yeah, going back, Carole King says, and then singer Carole King says, such a big loss, deepest sympathy to his family in the world. So, R.I.P. Tony Bennett. So, Midnight, you being from New York, are you a fan?
I wouldn't say I really ever cared about Tony Bennett. Like I understand what he is, but I'm not really into that Rat Pack shit. I don't like it.
Yeah, your sound is like messed up.
I don't. It's like old stuff. I don't even understand how people still care about it.
I mean, I guess there was something about him that's like appealing to mostly boomers, but then like maybe newer people
I
when he
understand.
started doing duets with Lady Gaga.
I I understand why my grandfather liked him. I don't understand why anybody else likes him.
Hmm. So yeah, R.I.P. Tony Bennett. Next passing to note. Ah, damn it! Hold on, press the wrong thing. Share screen. Uh, Sinead O'Connor. She's dead too, and they are saying that mystery surrounds the exact date of her death. Now, it's a given that any chick with a chest tattoo is crazy. She's not right in the
I mean,
head.
she's been crazy for a long time, and her son killed himself, didn't he? Or
Yeah, not
OD'd?
too long
One of the two.
ago. No, they like found
Uh,
him in some type of garden or forest area.
she she's pretty nuts. So she wasn't.
But
She was no spring chicken, but this is relatively young to die. Uh,
hmm
no one should be surprised that she died relatively young because she was fucking crazy.
yeah. And well, it's funny because I was reading about her. She converted to Islam. Yes, she has like the Jesus tattoo and this other Catholic sign- insignia. But yeah, Sinead O'Connor's death has been mourned around the world. Such was her contribution to the world of music. She was found by the London Metropolitan Police on Wednesday, even though they don't understand like where she died. She was like 56 years old. She was planning to complete um, restructuring a house in London that she moved into, and then she was also planning on releasing a new album and starting a world tour.
That was never gonna happen.
Mhm. But
That
yeah.
was, even if, like, she doesn't really have. She's not gonna sell out arenas. That is unrealistic. Um, she has no new material that anyone gives a shit about. Um, and she's too crazy to make it through a tour. So that was never gonna happen.
But Midnight, back when you probably remember when she first came out with Nothing Compares to You.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
And I don't know, what did you think of her then?
Oh,
Or
it's a
wasn't
great
your
song.
style?
She was a fantastic performer.
Yeah.
That was 35 years ago.
But now she's like,
Crazy. Probably doesn't
yeah.
have her chops. Doesn't have any new material that anyone gives a shit about. So
So,
I mean, people like her, I feel bad for them because she's surrounded by sycophants. There's no one that's gonna tell her, "Hey, bitch, you're too fucking crazy to do what you think you're gonna do. Uh, do something in reality," because she's not really capable of doing things in reality. People that
yeah.
crazy don't live in reality. I gotta mute for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So while we're waiting, I'll just let's see, read this. Okay. All right. Our next story is breaking news. Well, semi-breaking news because it happened 3 hours ago. It looks like war is coming back to Russia. So as I wait for the Midnight Man to come back and enlighten us on this little Russian dwarf, I mean Ukrainian dwarf, whatever. Ukraine. Here's a pro tip, my friends, anyone who's watching. Ukraine and Russia, they're pretty much the same thing. They're they're both Slavic countries. They're both Slavs. Their languages indistinguishable with maybe a few variations, but don't tell that to either of them or else they'll get very mad. It's kind of like let's see, what like telling an Alabama man that he's in Mississippi or someone like on one of those border towns. But Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has warned war is coming back to Russia after a drone attack on the capital Moscow. Uh, Zelensky said the attacks on Russian territory were inevitable, natural, and absolutely fair process of the war between the two countries. The defense ministry of Russia said that they shot down three of Ukraine's drones on Sunday, or today. What else? The drone attack was in the early hours of Sunday and is the latest that Moscow has blamed on Kiev. Also, in a video address on Sunday from the Western, uh, so then Zelensky said that uh, Ukraine was getting stronger, speaking from a western Ukrainian city of Ivano-Frankivsk. He said, "Today is the 522nd day of the so-called special military operation with the Russian leadership, though it would last a couple weeks," he said. So, let's see what else. Official says there was no injuries following the drone attack, and the city's mayor, Sergei Sobyanin, said the facades of two office buildings were slightly damaged. Plus, photos from the scene showed that several windows have been damaged. Let's see. And then here we have Russian guy, uh, standing amongst the wreckage. Okay. And then Russia has accused Ukraine of launching a series of drone strikes on its territory in recent months, including several on the capital. And as you say, it's just going back to the Crimean War, or the Crimean War, however you pronounce it. So, also, Buenos dias, Emega. We miss you. Where are you? Come back. Okay. So let's see. Let me check on midnight here.
I had tacos yesterday.
Oh, you did?
I had carne asada tacos. They're pretty good.
Nice.
It's like nobody fucking learns. Okay, you want to push war into Russia. What's going to happen? It's August. It's like 2 days from August, right? So you've got 2, maybe 3 months to really fucking finish it. Because what happens in 2, maybe 3 months?
Oh, winter.
Yep.
I mean,
What's the history?
Yeah, I was gonna say Zelensky is gonna repeat history. Napoleon, Russia, I mean Germany.
Yep. There's the history of fucking with Russia in the winter. Good luck to you. I mean, fuck them. Let them have it.
I mean, the only way I can see them if it taking an advantage in the winter is if they do like aerial bombardments. But that seems highly unlikely because no one's given Ukraine some fighter jets.
Well, now
Unless
they
they
have.
call upon the ghost of Kiev.
We're gonna give Ukraine all our fighter jets.
And then
just like we did with all our ammunition.
Yep, and then another 600 gorillion fulfillion dollars.
Yep.
While there's people with fent bent on the streets in America. People dying of trank. I mean, I'm glad I'm living in a country that doesn't bow to Ukraine's bullshit as of yet.
Yeah, give it time.
We got our own problems. We don't even have enough money. We're probably just as corrupt as Ukraine.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it's kind of weird because the corruption of South America might be the only thing keeping it from being dragged into that shit right now.
Well, aside from Argentina, because I know Argentina is helping. Alright, so yeah, Zelensky's being trolled. Before we go on to our next story, I wanted to talk to you. Have you been interested in seeing in either Oppenheimer or the Barbie movie? Probably not
No,
the probably
not
not
a
the latter.
single bit. Not a single bit.
You know, I I kind of like. Well, the only Nolan films I really liked are his Batman films. Well, the first two, and maybe Interstellar. No,
Memento's
Interstellar was mid.
pretty good.
I have yet to see Memento. I should,
Um,
but
Memento's pretty good.
yeah, I think I might see it later. But um, the only movies I know is that I'm familiar with Christopher Nolan. Oh, and the one with the dreams, Leonardo
Oh yeah,
DiCaprio.
I wasn't really impressed by Inception.
Yeah,
Um,
Inception.
it was like well designed, I guess, but I didn't really care
I
about it.
just know for the longest time the whole "bwam" was a huge meme
Yeah,
that whole year. Uh, but yeah, uh, apparently there was like a huge meme thing where people would do like crossovers of Barbie and Oppenheimer, and it was like cringe. Although I haven't seen Barbie yet, but I've read like the synopsis about like it's kind of fucked up. Okay,
what's
should I
fucked up?
the whole plot to the Barbie movie, because you're thinking that the Barbie movie would be like a Barbie movie, but it's more like the premise is the Barbies are living in Barbie Land and then the Kens are doing their own thing, but then it turns out that Barbie develops some type of problems, and then it turns out that it's the mom of the little girl who's projecting her feelings on Barbie. So Barbie has to go to the real world and confront the mom of the little girl she belongs to and try to figure out what's wrong. The subplot is Ken also Ryan Gosling Ken uh, goes into the real world as well, and he finds out about the patriarchy. And then he's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
I gotta bring this back," and he brings back.
The Barbie movie is overly ambitious in depth. It should just be a fucking movie about Barbie.
Yeah.
It's a kid's toy. It's a kid's toy. It doesn't have to be about this deep shit. But what
Yeah.
happened was woman got a hold of it, and women can't fucking control their need to self-insert. So the chick that wrote it and directed it had to fucking self-insert herself into it instead of just making a fun kids movie for little girls. So
Yeah.
like the little girls don't get anything out of it. It's for her. The director made it for herself. So
Yeah,
I
like
have
he was
no interest in
saying.
it. And like if it was what it's supposed to be, which is a fucking little kids movie, I wouldn't have any interest in it either because it's a little girl's movie. You know what I mean? Like it's
Kind of like how Trolls
yet
and I
another
Love
thing
Lucy.
ruined by fucking female solipsism. I feel bad for the little girls that aren't going to get a fun Barbie movie.
Yeah, because well, also compare the Barbie movie to something like the Lego movie, another toy-based
Right.
franchise where they actually had like a plot and then
And it was ultimately just stupid toy fun. Like all the Lego media, like the video games and all that shit, it's just stupid toy fun. It's not. There's nothing deep about it, and there doesn't have to be.
yeah, and there was no like gender crap or whatever. But the Barbie movie is like Ken brings back the patriarchy to Barbie Land and then subjugates all the other Barbies there, and then Barbie comes back and they overthrow Ken and girls rule. That's the plot.
I saw the post about America Ferrara delivering a heartfelt 50-minute speech that had the crew in tears. Gay.
Ugh. It sounds worse.
Stop
It
making.
sounds worse than when I heard about there's like a 19-minute long sex scene in Oppenheimer.
Ugh. Why?
Yeah, why? Oppenheimer 2, it should have been in someone else's hands. It would have been like more straightforward. Like Robert Oppenheimer is a nose guy who I think was born in like lower class New York. Yes, and he worked his way to be the physicist, invented the bomb, dropped on Hiroshima, and then he realized, and then he kind of has like regret later. But then they do, but I heard whole all through the whole movie, it was like Oppenheimer had all these conflicting feelings all through making of the bomb. When it was more like he didn't realize what had happened until they dropped it on Hiroshima.
Nigga, you were making a bomb. What the fuck do you think they were gonna do with it?
Yeah, greater good, whatever. But let's get to the good stuff, anyways. Jeffrey Epstein, cartoon villain, wanted to start a baby ranch and flood humanity with his DNA.
That came out like right after he died. We already knew about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I just found it, but I wanted to show this for now because there's a related story that just came out. So he wanted to inseminate 20 women at a time at a sprawling New Mexico ranch.
I mean, how much cocaine was he doing? That's the result of cocaine thoughts, or like amphetamine thoughts.
I have no idea, but he wanted to impregnate women at his New Mexico ranch and flood the human race with his DNA. Oh, yes. The Ubermensch right here with his
That's some weird shit
reportedly
to be thinking.
egg-shaped penis.
I don't want to know about
Ugh.
that.
I don't know, there was a rumor that like his penis looked weird. Or that
Yeah, I
someone
don't
said
wanna know
his dick looked weird. But anyways. But as we know, Epstein, who graciously, well, we kind of stole the island from him and got the sharks used to chomo meat, chomo chum, we like to say. We know that he liked to donate to scientific stuff like academics like Stephen Hawking, and he wanted to inseminate 20 women at a time at his ranch in Zorro in Stanley, New Mexico.
I bet he was a raging cokehead.
Probably. And no one was surprised. One advisor said that Epstein told him the idea during a gathering at Epstein's Manhattan mansion, and then there was another plot. And then he also heard from someone else who was a prominent member of the business community. And like all raging 1% of cokeheads, they are fascinated with transhumanism, and which is scientists should seize control of human evolution. Bad idea. And achieve immortality. How did that work out for him?
Not so well.
Yeah, he wanted to start this baby ranch in the early 2000s. I mean, do you remember like a couple years ago they found some crazy Japanese businessman guy was also like having a ton of babies with like a bunch of women from like Thailand and Vietnam and China
No, I don't think
because he was trying to
I
create a
heard of
master
that.
race.
Well, you're not going to create a master race by creating the necessity for inbreeding by breeding every other fucking genetic line. No, that's not going to do that.
But yeah, also he also was interested in cryogenics and wanted to have his head and penis frozen, along with identifying a mysterious particle that might trigger the feeling that someone is watching you.
Yeah, it's called cocaine. What the what?
Yep.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Explain that part. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean discovering a
having
mysterious part? I
yeah, it doesn't.
don't understand
It
what that
doesn't.
means.
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe he was thinking about like the particles, like a Higgs boson or something that makes you like self-aware of the world around you and makes you like aware of like other people. Who knows? They don't really elaborate upon it. Uh,
That's
also,
weird.
also when he visited Harvard, he also disparaged work focused on reducing starvation and providing health care for the poor, suggesting that helping the poor only contributed to overpopulation, which he's maybe like 75% wrong on that because we have seen that poor people are the ones who are having the most kids.
Yeah, I mean, poor people need to stop having kids they can't afford and work on being able to afford kids and then
Hmm.
having kids. You know, it. And part of the problem, there are a lot of problems, but part of the problem is that if you look at their their family units, none of them can cooperate with each other. Look at how poor families operate. They're always in conflict. They're always in conflict. Why? Because they're children. And you can say it's education, but there's got to be self determination to some degree. So the first thing poor people need to do is stop having kids they can't afford and start working on being able to afford kids before they have them. I have so many cousins that just popped out babies without thinking about it, and then got mad that they were always fucking broke. Like, hey, stupid! You could have waited 5 years and like got a job and shit.
Yeah, my sister
I,
too. At least at the moment, she stopped at 2 kids, and now seems to getting her life on track. Even though she looks like your typical washed up, bleach blonde, tattooed, tatted to the max whore.
I have a cousin that gamed the system hardcore, and as soon as her oldest son, uh, when he like she's got multiple kids, but the only one that is over 18 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
When her oldest son was turned 18, he had to get the fuck out of the house because it would have cut on her free money train. So what type of
Yeah,
person does that create?
and
What type
then
of person is that
and then
that
you
does
also
that?
have to
They
take
use
into
their kids
effect
to
that
get
maybe she
free
parentified
money.
him too.
What do what do you mean by that?
Like like she was too busy getting too many dick and all these little ones around, and the oldest one has to watch out for them and take care of them.
No, he ran off and joined gangs. He's already been in and out of jail.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh hey, Paulo. Yeah, we're early because
that's what that type of mother creates.
I have plans um later in the evening. That's why we're doing early. Plus, we have like a whole bunch of stories to get to because we haven't been on for a while. So sit tight, Porsche Goose. Um, let's see anything else. The Steven Pinker guy. was literally voted off the island after he disputed Epstein's views, and he described him as an intellectual imposter who would abruptly change the subject ADD style into miss an observation with an adolescent wisecrack. That is cocaine.
I mean, it sure sounds like cocaine to me.
Yep. Oh, what else? Oh, this Jared Melanier says that Epstein was using his dinner parties to screen candidates to bear Epstein's children.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah. But I mean, he wants to do all these women, but yet he couldn't fill up Ghislaine Maxwell's and use her as a broodmare. No.
Well, there were people saying, haven't people said that he might have been secretly gay?
The last one is good buddy, the man's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz. He was appalled by one of Epstein's conversation about improving the human genome, saying it called to the mind the Nazis' use of eugenics to achieve a pure Aryan race. But, I mean, it's wrong if, say, a white blonde-haired guy says that kind of stuff, but when it's this type of, if your last name ends in a Stein, Berg, Cohen, or if your last name is prefaced by a gold, silver, Rosen, diamond, it's fair game. It's fair game.
Surprised people who consider themselves the chosen are acting like they consider themselves the chosen. Who would have thought that would have happened?
Kind of like that last was it on the last show where you're talking about that one show about the graphic novel?
Yeah. Utopia.
Remember? Yeah, Utopia, yeah. And then the guy turns out to be a stand-in for a certain.
Yeah, they said he was Romani, but it's like as soon as they reveal, oh, he's Romani, you're like, dude, you know he's not supposed to be fucking Romani. Stop that shit. Can we be honest, please?
Nah, not at this time.
Whoops! If you're honest, Piers Morgan has you on his show and tells you that your cancellation and disappearance is imminent.
But yeah, speaking of a certain group of people trying to create a certain type of master race, FTX lobbyists tried to buy Pacific Island of Nauru to create the super species.
Gabe Bankman-Fried. Huh?
Yep. Gabe Bankman-Fried, the younger brother of Sam, the Wankman Bankman, tried to buy the island nation of Nauru, a Delaware lawsuit alleges. So Nauru, which is a population of about 12,000, is a little more of 2,100 miles away from Brisbane, Australia. And it has like a road that just goes around the entire island. So the Wankman Bankman's younger brother, who was a top lobbyist for FTX, considered purchasing the island nation of Nauru in the Pacific to create a fortified apocalypse bunker state. Why is it always them? Am I noticing? Am I going to get taken down by the Mossad now?
It isn't always them, but it's quite often them.
Yeah, so...
And why? Because they... So, you know how you have white guilt? Like, you think about, like... And part of this is due to our public education system, but private schools might actually be worse. You know, when you think about, okay, so European descendant white people, they did a whole bunch of what you could argue is horrible stuff. They colonized, they committed multiple genocides around the world in various places, they committed war atrocities, all this stuff. And it's like, man, we really shouldn't do that, right? You know how you have those thoughts?
Yeah. In fact, they
They
just
don't have
sent
those
the
thoughts.
fat greasy bastard a video about the Spanish war dogs, which were literally dogs bred by the conquistadors to rip apart Indians. So
Yeah, they don't have those thoughts. Everything that they do to anyone else is justified, no matter how much it hurts them. They don't. Those thoughts of those self-conscious, like maybe we should be kinder might not be the right word, but for lack of a better one, I'll use it. Those thoughts of maybe we should be kinder to other people and do unto them as we would prefer they do unto us. Yeah, that's not one of their rules. They don't have that. So when you wonder why they consistently do things like this to other people or try to plan to do things like this to other people, it's because they have no rule against it. The concept isn't even in the culture.
yeah, and yeah, Paulo says that Nauru Nauru is the size of a stadium parking lot. I'm surprised nobody's even figured out a legal way to buy this type of nation. Well, I just find it amazing that you can just upright buy countries
Well, you can't. That's why he didn't do it.
if you have the money.
Yeah, you can't. Even
But
Bono
yeah,
tried to pay off a bunch of debt, and he wasn't. They wouldn't let him. He wasn't. I don't think he was trying to buy a country, but he was trying to. I mean, it's
yeah.
Bono, so he probably had ulterior motives, but they wouldn't let him.
But yeah, apparently Gabe Bankman-Fried wanted to buy Nauru in case of there was an event where 50% and 99.9% of people die to protect his philanthropic allies and create a genetically enhanced human species, according to a suit filed Thursday or last Thursday by attorneys from the Sullivan and Cromwell, which is seeking to recover billions of dollars following the collapse of FTX. Uh, and bunker life is well documented fixation among tech billionaires, particularly with those who identify as doomsday preppers. And there's also a fascination with buying large estates in the Pacific and even owning small islands.
I mean, it'd probably be nice to live on an island in the Pacific.
Yeah, I think it would be nice. Oh, I was speaking of islands. I was actually later I have to show you this video that I was watching about how to actually survive on a desert island. Oh yeah. So Gabe Bankman-Fried was FTX's most visible presence in Washington D.C. and was connected to a lot of bipartisan charitable donations that ran into the hundreds of millions. And so him and this
I'm sure.
other onion, yeah.
I'm sure they were bipartisan at a 1-to-1 ratio too.
Okay, now you're finally coming in clear. But a representative from the island nation was not said that the island was not and has never been for sale. But yeah, they sought to establish an emergency base for itself and a select group of EAs or effective altruists.
That shit's all nonsense.
Yeah,
That effective altruism shit. That shit's all nonsense.
but yeah,
It's masturbation.
Mhm. Well, it sounds like the apple ain't falling far from the trees. Next story, another Epstein story. Billionaire ogre Liam Black accused of um raping autistic teen after handoff from Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit.
Boy, that's surprising.
hmm Billionaire investor Leon Black, this handsome gentleman right here. I bet you can guess what where he belongs, what his genetic affiliation is. But yeah, so Liam Black was accused Tuesday of raping an autistic teenager inside Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan mansion 2 days ago after the ped financier facilitated a handoff. So, there's a victim, Jane Doe, said she was only 16 when Black pinned her down inside Epstein's Upper East Side townhouse in 2002 and abused her with sex toys, causing her to bleed, saying that Black grabbed her hand so hard that she thought she had broken bones, and Epstein knew that she would never disobey. Because developmentally, she's about 12. And when she was threatened to do as she was told, because bad girls get in trouble, and she did what she was told.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I also I also feel for her being a similar vein because I too am have the tism and maybe developmentally under 18 or mentally under 18. What else? The woman claims that she was trafficked by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for about a year before the alleged encounter with Black, whose lawyers deny the charges. A likely story. She suffers from something called mosaic Down syndrome, which is a rare condition that affects her neurological capabilities, making her a perfect target for the depraved duo. I have never heard of that. Mosaic Down syndrome. Let's see. So this poor girl met the debauched couple after her abusive cheerleading coach took her to an adult party in a Washington, D.C. suburb where Maxwell fawned over her beautiful bright blue eyes, blonde hair, and perfect hair that made her look like a living doll. And then she was routinely shipped out to Epstein Island, his Palm Beach home, and occasionally to New York, where she was forced to perform acts on the creeps and his friends.
Do you recall the it kind of it's raised it's reared its ugly head a couple of times, but it very quickly disappears.
Mm-hmm.
The Down syndrome drag queens that they were trying to make happen.
Uh, no, but then again, I do not care for Down syndrome people, and I like to praise
You
and
don't.
I like to praise Iceland for eradicating them or for
Oh man,
eradicating the gene that causes it.
why don't you care for them?
Um, because I don't think we should have people like that in society in this day and age.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Pretty harsh. Do you have a specific like experience with Down syndrome people that makes you despise them so much?
mm, maybe if I think about it, there used to be a Downs guy in the church my family used to go to, and I don't know if you watched the episode of Adonis Paul where he showed the video of the autistic guy trying to hug like the little kid. It was kind of a similar situation to that, where I guess maybe the Down syndrome guy wanted to like play with small me, but I got spooked and now I associate Down syndrome people with, yeah.
Down syndrome people are, you know, they're lesser people in society, and we should look out for them. They're not. It's not their fault they have Down syndrome.
I know, but I just they do not sit well with me. Same with the Mormons.
Okay.
Yes. So, where was it? So in 2002, uh, Jeffrey Epstein executed at his Manhattan townhouse, 9 East 71st Street. Epstein handed off the girl to his close friend Leon Black. And then what happened? Well, And then the woman also says that Epstein told her that Black was important and a special friend to him, though she recalls thinking that the former Apollo CEO looked like an ogre. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean,
It's weird how they
what?
keep using the term handed off. He sold her to him.
But I mean, just slap some like green face paint on him, and he does look like Shrek.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Let's see. Well, she was ordered to strip and give Black the same massage as she gave Epstein, but then he was violent. He violently picked her up and threw her down on the massage table. Then he placed his hand over her mouth and leaned over while ripping off her shirt and and under her skirt, pulling her underwear off. And then she was crying and terrified, but Black asked her what made her Jeffrey's special girl, and throughout this all called her demeaning, shameful, and disgusting names. And when the girl tried to fight back, uh, Black threw her on the floor and slammed against the walls. And of course, they had to put in this very unsettling picture of Ghislaine and her mommy milkers giving this guy a foot massage. And then after uh, Jeffy found her crying on the floor but refused to take her to the doctor, instead claiming that Maxwell would take care of her. Except she got sent on a plane home. And so, yeah, she was really hurt. She was hurt so bad that she thought her pelvis had broken. And sadly, Miss Doe's experience is one of more in a long line of despicable and heinous experience inflicted on a minor trapped in Jeffrey Epstein's web. A web that extended to a group of powerful and influential men, including Leon Black. Uh, I never heard of him, but Midnight, have you ever worked a thing with this where he appeared or no?
What company did he have?
Apollo. I don't know what
I don't.
Apollo does.
I don't know that I have or haven't. It doesn't sound familiar to me. Let's take a quick look and see. I mean, he was chairman of MoMA from 2018 to 2021.
Yeah.
So that gives you some interesting things, considering how wide-reaching the influence of MoMA is.
MoMA is like the Museum of Modern Art.
Museum of Modern Art. Yep.
And
yeah. It looks like he might.
Yeah. And
he
of course,
owns
they're
one of
running
4 versions of Munch's The Scream.
Yeah, and of course they are running interference saying that they never met the girl. And these allegations, and the lawyer says that these allegations about an incident that supposedly took place 20 years ago are totally made up and are entirely uncorroborated. The sham proceeding will be promptly dismissed and will prove further ammunition for Mr. Black's pending sanctions against the Wigdor form. Then, the suit was also filed on the same day that the Senate's Finance Committee was examining Black's treatment of several trusts and whether $150 million he paid to Epstein for tax and estate planning was properly deemed income or gifts for tax purposes. Let's see. He also denied other allegations lodged against him, including one by former Russian model Guzel Ganieva and one from Cherie Pearson, who also claimed that Black raped her in Epstein's home 2 decades ago. He has a net worth of $10.1 billion. And he left the private equity firm he founded after the New York Times exposed his ties to Epstein. So, yeah. Ogre, he is. But some people got lucky. What do you make of this? Kevin Spacey acquitted of all 9 sexual offense charges in London trial.
I just think it's really weird how connected Kevin Spacey is, and I wonder how we got that connected.
Wasn't his dad like also some sort of like white Nazi?
I don't buy any of the stories about his
Nazi
dad because
affiliation or white
they're all.
supremacist?
Yeah, I don't buy any of the stories about his dad because they're all really fucking convenient. There's just something weird about the stories about his dad. They don't land right. They land really conveniently. Oh, I'm a terrible person because my dad was a Nazi. Fuck off. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
So a tearful Kevin Spacey said he was humbled after a jury in a London court found him not guilty of carrying out multiple sexual assaults on 4 men. 12 hours and 26 minutes of deliberation, the jury acquitted the Oscar-winning U.S. actor by a majority of 9 charges, which he was accused of committing between 2004 and 2013, at a time when he was working at London's Old Vic Theatre. He was also celebrating his 64th birthday. He began to cry and mouthed thank you to the 9 men and 3 women jurors before wiping away tears with a tissue. Man, some birthday present. He said, I imagine that many of you can understand there's a lot for me to process after what has just happened today, he said. I am humbled by the outcome today. And he also said that he was enormously grateful for the jury for having taken time to examine all the evidence and all the facts carefully before they reached the decision. And as per usual, he was swarmed by cameras as he walked into a waiting taxi. And so during the 4-week trial, prosecutors described the actor as a sexual bully who had aggressively groped 3 of the men and performed oral sex on the 4th while he had passed out in Spacey's London apartment. And of course, Spacey said that the evidence was weak and that the incidents were all consensual. Do you think
Do I think what?
do you think these guys were all like money hunting, looking for a payout?
Maybe. I think that 14-year-old kid wasn't.
Yeah. Let's see. The incidents were consensual, and then he said that he was also promiscuous, a big flirt who had casual, indiscriminate sexual encounters. And then one of the complainants alleged Spacey painfully grabbed his crotch like a cobra in the mid-2000s.
That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah. Well, he said they made a clumsy pass at one of the men. He said he had never assaulted anyone and suggested that the accusers had come forward to make money. And of course, we all know that. Let's see. There was a guy by actor Anthony Rapp.
That's the 14-year-old kid, I think, isn't it?
I think so. And then Spacey said that there was a rush to judgment in saying that first the question was asked or answered, I lost my job, I lost my reputation, I lost everything in a matter of days. And then he was dropped from House of Cards. What? Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Yep, right here. Rapp, who accused Spacey of making an unwanted sexual advance in '86 when he was 14, brought a civil lawsuit against the actor, but lost the case last year. And then, what else? Let's see. London jurors had heard several references to Spacey's fellow actors and celebrities, including Val Kilmer and Judi Dench, who the court heard and enjoyed playing table tennis with Spacey. And then they also wanted to hear evidence from Elton John and his husband David Furnish, who gave evidence by video link as part from Monaco as part of Spacey's defense. Senna, what do you think?
What do I think about what?
The whole Kevin Spacey thing.
Like, do I think he did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely think that he is a predator. Dude, I've met him. There's something. He's got dead shark eyes. There's something weird about him. He comes off as the type of person who knows immediately who has the most of what he wants in the room, and when he looks at you, he sizes you up very, very quickly as to whether or not you've got something he wants.
Indeed. All right, next. Hunter Biden pleads not guilty as plea deal falls apart during Delaware court appearance. So Hunter Biden, I guess, made a plea deal for his federal thing, his federal charges. But his plea deal fell apart during his first court appearance Wednesday morning, and he pled not guilty. Excuse me, as federal prosecutors confirmed that the president's son is still under federal investigation. Excuse me. So the DOJ, the DOJ is finally doing something. But yeah, old number one son is expected to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor task counts of willful failure to pay federal income tax as part of a plea deal to avoid jail time on a felony gun charge. But Judge Mary Ellen Noriega did not accept the plea agreement, questioning the constitutionality, specifically the diversion clause and the immunity Hunter Biden would receive. And Hunter was also expected to enter into a pretrial diversion agreement regarding a separate felony charge of possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. And which brings me to this one. This one's more detailed. So, this Nick Sorter on Twitter or X or whatever this shit is. Whatever this shit now. Elon, what the fuck are you doing? So, here are his conditions of release. So, if Hunter does not comply with any or part of the order, he could be immediately arrested. So, he is required to not possess a firearm, not possess any not use or possess any controlled substances, including marijuana, unless prescribed, submit to a full federal supervision, no use of alcohol at all, seek active employment, submit to testing for prohibited substances, and participate in substance abuse therapy. And how long do you think it's going to take until he breaks one or more of them?
He's broken all of them now. I guarantee you he's breaking all those rules right this second. He absolutely has crack on him right this moment.
Yep. And the penalties are immediate issuance of an arrest warrant, revocation of release, forfeiture of bond, and prosecution for attempted court. And
you want an easy arrest? Go piss test Hunter Biden right now, right this second, because I guarantee you he's got crack, probably some weed, maybe a few other things in his system.
So, Judge Mary Ellen Noriega, test him. Pull him in, tell him to piss in a cup, and test it.
I mean, if she rejected his plea deal, then we're pretty close to seeing the last of her. She's going to be made to go away soon.
Yep. Which, following under the tweet, here's Biden's lawyer Kevin Morris ripping a bong, clearly visible from the road, during a visit by the president's son. But yeah, he's gonna get away with it, unfortunately.
Of course he is. He's the bag man.
He's the bad man.
No, the bag man.
Oh, the bag man. Oh.
You know what the bag man is?
Uh, is it the guy who's left holding the bag once everyone abandons him?
No. The bag man
Excuse me.
is the guy who carries the contraband.
Ah.
You know, so like he's the guy who goes in and makes the deal. Pop what the fuck did they call Joe again?
The big guy.
Joe's the big guy. Hunter goes in and makes the deal for the big guy. That's the bag man.
Good old Pedo Pete. But speaking of Midnight, have you ever seen Sound of Freedom yet?
No, it's gonna be a real hard movie to watch.
Would you be down for like a watch party if it comes out in some way or another?
Maybe. I mean, we couldn't do it on an open broadcast, but maybe.
Of course. We also need to discuss that other watch thing.
Oh yeah.
After.
Okay.
But yeah. Sound of Freedom's Jim Caviezel slams Joe Biden for nibbling on baby. I would have popped him. And I'm sure a lot of people would, but those progressive fans are like, oh, it's just old man. Oh, it's just an older man just a chewing on the baby. Nothing wrong. It's not like he's sucking off her adrenochrome like he was attempting to do.
It's pretty fucking weird to chew on babies.
Yep. Well, maybe he has partaken in the flesh of a newborn. Joe Biden definitely looks like he ate a baby once in his life.
He's definitely got the rage of the guilty.
Well, Sound of Freedom actor Jim Caviezel spoke out against President Biden's repeated inappropriate behavior toward children and said he would have physically intervened if Biden had put his mouth on his child. While discussing the recent viral video of President Biden nibbling on a small child during an appearance on the Benny Johnson show, Caviezel told Johnson that the Secret Service would have tackled me because I would have popped him. Caviezel, the starring actor of Sound of Freedom, said that all Christians would have to unite in order to weed out the evil in society, referring to both Biden's behavior toward children and the war on Christianity. He says, there's a new sheriff in town. Our Lord threw people out of the temple, and this is the line right here where we have to throw him out. So let's watch this video from...
It does cross the line with children. It makes our skin crawl. We do talk a lot about politics on this show, and a piece of video that crossed our screens on our cell phones from last Friday was Joe Biden essentially biting a child. You can see it here. We'll pop it up on screen. He's like biting a stranger's kid, like going and nibbling a child. You're a father. I'm a father. I would never let a demented pervert like this anywhere near my children. You know, how dare you touch another person's child like that? And it does speak to sort of an underlying disrespect of children. Whether
look at the parent though that's sitting there and just admiring him for it. I'd have pushed him off so quick.
What would you do if Joe Biden did that to your child, Jim? What would you do?
The Secret Service would have tackled me because I'd have popped him.
Yeah, because that's a deeply inappropriate way to touch a child, right? You shouldn't put your mouth on a child and bite it.
Yeah, you don't have a right to do wrong.
Yes.
You know, and that's what they've made it. But as far as Christians, we continually are marginalized.
I mean, I can understand if it's like an older relative that's trying to chew on like a baby just to be silly, but if it's just like a random dude, like even the President Joe Biden, a lot of sus.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of boomers do weird shit like that to their own family, and it is weird. But yeah, that's not your kid. You don't put your mouth on them. It's fucking weird.
And I mean, Jim Caviezel is literally Jesus.
Well, he's not literally Jesus.
Well,
They played him in a movie.
He played Jesus. Best Jesus, I have to say. Let's see. He also says a Christian has to be God's weapon, whether he's willing to lose his name, reputation, job, title, even his very life to stand for the truth. Explaining to Caviezel said, explaining to Johnson that Christians have been falling short of the spiritual war on culture. Well, Deus vult to that. Caviezel is a confirmed Catholic, and he questions why leaders within the Catholic Church are speaking out against attacks on Christianity. And he also ponders why many failed to defend the anti-child sex trafficking. Why many failed to defend the anti-child sex trafficking movie instead of against the anti-Catholic transgender drag group, Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, who were given a Community Hero Award at Dodger Stadium last month. So Midnight, you might have a contender for the position of church inquisitor.
There's definitely a position. I'm not sure exactly what. But it would be a shame not to come up with something to offer him.
Yeah. And then he also says, like, but yeah, the actor who starred as Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ said that people need to start fighting back against the evildoer, saying, it's time to get church militant. It's time to say, no, I'm not going to pay for your stuff anymore. And they want to go this way, let them go.
Yeah, he's right about that.
Okay. So, I know they came out with the UFO hearings. What do you think?
If there ain't a three-titty alien hooker right in front of me, then they don't exist. That's been my standpoint the whole time. That continues to be my standpoint. No three-titty alien hooker, no jump ship, no Guyver suit, no aliens. Period. I'm not hearing it. So,
4 shocking moments from the Congress UFO hearing. It's long, so let's just go off from the video. So, do you think this guy Grush is credible? So first,
I don't know anything about him.
They recovered non-human remains of pilots.
Non-human remains can mean a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's a former U.S. intelligence official, David Grush. Do you think he's? And then they also have made contact with extraterrestrial life.
Did he say made contact with Did he say the phrase "we've made contact with extraterrestrial life"?
Okay. So.
You got no audio coming off that.
All right. Let me go back to here.
That was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program.
See, but I don't hear anyone.
He evaded a question about whether governments have made
Okay, but listen. That is a sentence that is put on this video. That is not him saying the phrase extraterrestrial life. They're saying non-human. But we sent dogs into space and we sent monkeys into space. We probably sent chickens and a few other things into space. Those are non-human organisms. So I see the word game, man. Yeah, Paulo Costa's got it right. Exactly, Paulo. 3 boobs, chick from Total Recall, or aliens get the fuck out. Period.
What, you don't want to you don't want to clap some gray alien cheeks?
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
Okay. And he also personally interviewed people with direct knowledge of non-human origin craft.
I want to hear how he phrased it.
He said, yes, I personally...
I have to be careful what I say in detail because there is an open whistleblower reprisal investigation on my behalf, and I don't want to compromise that investigation by providing anything that may help provide somebody information.
No, what do you think?
So it's more than just a bunch of papers, and what big deal is
It's an off until 3. I mean, like I said over and over again, it's an op until I get a 3-titty alien hooker.
Yep.
It seems to me like it's meant to distract from something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Grush filed a complaint to Congress alleging he faced illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures. And within those disclosures were information demonstrating intact and partially intact vehicles. Let's see. Let's go back to the U.S. government has possibly made contact with extraterrestrial life. He evaded the question, saying only that's something I can't discuss in a public setting. So that sounds kind of sus. But he did say he is absolutely certain that the federal government is in possession of UFOs, and said that he based the information on interviews with some 40 witnesses in recent years. Do you think he's talking out of his ass, or?
I think, like I said, 3-titty alien hooker, or it's bullshit. I can say it again. 3-titty alien hooker, or it's bullshit.
And we'll just leave it at that. So
Just
now to end off, right? And then to end off the show, I had 2 penises and used both for sex. Women were addicted. This guy definitely fucks. Shall we watch the video?
I don't really want to watch a video of a guy with 2 dicks.
But yeah, a Los Angeles truck driver born with 2 penises is speaking out about his unusual sex life, saying several of his lovers enjoyed the fact that he had multiple members. Identified only as Tank, suffers from diphalia, a genetic abnormality in which a male is born with 2 penises. The condition is incredibly rare and estimated to affect less than 1,000 men and boys across the United States. In an interview with Soft White Underbelly, Tank revealed that he was sent to a juvenile detention center after being convicted of manslaughter at the age of 12.
Jesus.
He was a virgin until his release from custody at the age of 24 and set out to make the most of his extra organ after obtaining his freedom. Women didn't believe it when I told them I had 2 dicks, but then I took them to the room they'd see. He divulged during the interview. He also ditched details about diphalia, saying that he would explode from both at the same time. He would be a double squirter, even if only one of them was being stimulated.
Good for him, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. He'd say that when he'd penetrate a woman, he would get a feeling, but one of his dicks is like at the side and feels like it's going to blow up, he explained. He also revealed that some women enjoyed feeling both inside, including one lover who became hooked on the sensation. He also claimed that she started having threesomes after their breakup because a single penis could no longer satisfy her. She wanted to be a porn star and she wanted us to do a video together. He would have made a lot of money. Oh yeah, like I would be going on Pornhub for this sexy hunk of meat. However, the LA native claimed the additional appendage proved problematic. He claimed it was difficult to have sex with only one of his dicks at a time, while the use of two was painful for most of his paramours. He So he decided to get the surgery. It would hurt some women.
Oh
And
no!
yep. He only
I have a
has
problem with this.
one.
This poor son of a bitch. You don't cut your dick off. I don't care if you have an extra one. I mean, unless it's like cancer. If it's cancer, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But
He had a gift, but he squandered it. Today he only has just one penis, but several of his family members also have unusual pubic regions. His uncle was also he claimed that his uncle was also born with diphtheria, while his own father's had large testicles like a bull.
I'm pretty mad that he cut it off.
He could have given it to you.
It's just wrong. No, I've got everything I need. I just think that you know, it's just wrong to throw away. Just don't cut your dicks off. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and like Paulo says, he should have gone into porn like his girlfriend told him. Yeah. And he said that they weren't gonna show the two dicks. It's just like the guy was just probably talking about having two dicks. Another man with diphtheria made headlines after he answered questions on Reddit after having multiple members. And And the man who hasn't disclosed his real identity subsequently self-published a book titled Doubleheader: My Life with Two Penises. Oh god, I like this one. I had two of them once, then I uncrossed my eyes. Anyways, I think that's it for the rest of for this show.
All right.
I tried to cover everything that happened in the past 2 weeks since I was busy moving and stuff. So, what you got cooking, Midnight Man,
I'm working
for
on
the
some
following?
Chrome content.
Oh, care to divulge, or is it a surprise?
No, just some content I'm working on. It's fucking
Oh, right.
taking forever because I'm overly ambitious with what I have.
Yeah, because you
That's
did
okay.
drop that one sample you and Thief were working on. Sounded pretty neat. It gave me
Yes.
Like Luc Besson 90s like house techno vibes.
Yeah, it's essentially a garbage song.
I don't know,
If
maybe
only I
I'm
could
just
get Shirley Manson to do vocals for me.
Yeah, I did tell you that they're coming to my city soon.
Oh, nice. Never seen them live.
As for me, I'm just keeping on. So, I guess that's it for today's show. We will see you next week at the same bat time at the same bat hour. Maybe later as per usual or normal time, and hopefully everyone will be here instead of being a lazy fucking hog in Barcelona or stuffing their face full of tacos with their family. You know who you are. I've been Condor Jez. That's the main man to midnight. We're out of here. Bye.
Everyone have a good night.
And night to you, Paulo, our porch goose.